When I first came in 2007, it was just 9 months after the suicide of my sister, Erin. Honestly, I don't remember much. I know I stood just over there on the lawn by the Kuntz house, my eyes bleared with tears, clutching my mom's hand, truly disbelieving that I was going to release a butterfly in honor of my sister that I so desperately miss. In fact, as I look back now on that first year, it seems I went through the year in some kind of frozen, numb state, just going through the motions. I wonder how I made it through the year at all. When my sister took her life, my own journey markedly changed. I took a route that I never thought I would have to take, and yet here I am. Somewhere along the way, with the strength of my sister, I found the energy and the passion to advocate for suicide prevention and for mental health struggles. My sister's final words implored me to continue to fight for others who suffer this horrible disease. Please, Tana. So as I find my footing on this new path, I find it is often marked with irony. I've been blessed to meet and hug so many people along their own journey, such incredible people, and yet we would never have met if we weren't all touched by suicide. It can truly be a double-edged sword. Not all of us have the energy or the desire to speak publicly about the loss of their loved one to suicide. For whatever reason, I do feel comfortable reaching out and talking to others, and I feel honored and privileged that in my role as coordinator for the Waterloo Region Suicide Prevention Council, I can share my story and be a catalyst for change and bring awareness for suicide prevention and intervention. What I have found in this role, time and time again, is that people do want to talk about suicide. It just takes someone to start the dialogue. I've been blessed to be able to do this and have a few stories to share. Last year, when I was in the studio at 570 News on Jeff Allen's call-in talk show for the first time, the producer was pretty skeptical about having me in the studio on a talk show and talking about suicide. And she said to me, "I hope you have lots of information because no one's going to call in." Well, 10 minutes into the half-hour show, she popped her head in the studio and asked if I could stay an hour because the phone lines were lit up. People wanted to talk. And last year, as part of fundraising for our annual bowl-a-thon, one of the ladies on our council hosted a garage sale with a sign displaying that the proceeds were for the Suicide Prevention Council. A lady stopped and talked to Kathy, and after a while shared that when she was a teenager, she had lost a parent to suicide. This lady was in her 60s, and she had never uttered those words before. But having someone else talk about it gave her the courage to share something so personal and something she had been carrying with her for so long. Being open about suicide can help people that are grieving share their stories so they can begin to heal. That same kind of story happened to me last year on the golf course when I was playing with two sisters I had never met. I shared my story about my sister Erin and my grandmother, who I also lost to suicide, and my role with the council. They both stopped and looked at each other and then at me. They told me they had lost a nephew to suicide, but they never talked about him, and they never talked about him to their brother. Talk about your loved one that you lost to suicide. Say their name. Share a story with someone that puts a smile on your face. I know it can feel so vulnerable at first, but sharing is truly amazing. When you're able to talk and share, you end up getting so much back in return. People are very thankful that you shared, and it can lighten the load for yourself. Remember to also celebrate the person you are missing and to remember the happy, joyful times you spent with them. We are all blessed to have known the amazing person we are missing, yet often with suicide, we end up only thinking about the tragedy of their death. Nothing makes me happier than when my niece Tate looks up at me and asks me to tell her a funny mummy story, or when someone wants to hear a story about my sister. It's only been since 2006 since Erin died, yet I can feel a momentum and a shift taking place in our region and across the country. There has never been so much media coverage and people talking about suicide and what we need to do. People are becoming more open and sharing their stories. And today, on September 10th, we are not alone. In communities across Canada and across the world, there are celebrations taking place to honor World Suicide Prevention Day and those we have lost to suicide. A shift is taking place. I know that doesn't help with the loved ones we are thinking about today that we can never get back, but we can help someone else, another sister, a grandmother, a daughter, a parent, a spouse, a friend, one at a time. Let us take the pain we are feeling today and transfer it into hope. Hope for lives saved, hope for an understanding about suicide, hope that others won't have to feel the incredible loss that we are feeling. Please help me and the council keep this momentum going. Thank you. I will encourage you today, there's some literature on the tables. Please feel free to take it. We do now have an updated website. We're trying to get into the 2011 year. And so at wrspc.ca, there's lots of literature, there's support information. You can like us on Facebook. We have an amazing volunteer who continues to update it, puts articles and events that are taking place, and it also lists many of our community partners, and there are many. And today we also unveiled this, and it's called Stories of Living. It's a booklet filled with 5 courageous stories from people in our community who've been in that dark place before and have tried to take their life, and that are willing to share their story in hope that we can save someone else's. Feel free to pick that up.